Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a fascinating story where all this legal red tape and political drama actually sets the stage for something huge. It's a story about how a prisoner in chains gets a very, very unexpected audience.
So let's just dive right in. Think about it. How does a prisoner who's basically stuck in a legal nightmare end up getting a personal one-on-one with the king? Well, we're going to break down exactly how that happened.
Okay, so our story kicks off with a new governor who inherits an old and very tricky problem. It's this political headache of a legal case, and honestly, he has no idea what to do with it. So here's the quick rundown of how this all unfolded. First, the old governor, Felix, he just leaves Paul sitting in prison. Then, the new guy, Festus, takes over, and boom, the case lands right in his lap, and he is feeling the pressure. And then, kind of out of nowhere, King Agrippa and his sister Bernice show up for a visit, and trust me, that visit changes everything. Here's the core of Festus's problem. You see, as a Roman official, he gets Roman law. That's his world. But the charges they're leveling against Paul, they just make no sense to him. He's got to write a report to Caesar, but he can't even figure out what crime was supposedly committed. He's totally stuck. And this slide really gets to the heart of his dilemma. On one hand, he was expecting to hear about things like treason or rebellion, serious crimes that Rome actually cares about. But what did he get instead? He's basically being asked to referee a theological argument about their own religion. It was a total mismatch, and it just left him completely baffled.
Now, this wasn't just any religious disagreement. No, this whole thing hinged on one very specific and pretty radical claim that was right at the center of the entire conflict.
You can almost hear the confusion in Festus's voice when he tries to explain this to King Agrippa. He basically boils it all down to its weirdest element, a fight about, quote, a dead man named Jesus who Paul claimed was alive. For a practical Roman guy like him, this isn't a legal issue at all. It's just a strange, internal quarrel.
So this one idea, the resurrection, it meant something totally different to everybody involved. For Paul, it was the absolute foundation of everything. For his accusers, it was a blasphemous scandal. And for poor Festus, it was just weird. This single point of contention brought the entire Roman legal process to a grinding halt.
So, just when it seems like Paul is trapped in this legal limbo indefinitely, something completely unexpected happens. A simple moment of human curiosity completely changes the direction of this entire story.
Okay, look at how this plays out step by step. It's kind of perfect. First, Festus is totally lost. Then, who shows up for a visit but King Agrippa, a guy who actually is an expert in Jewish customs. So Festus explains the whole weird case to him, and what happens? The very thing that baffled the governor, that bit about the resurrection, is what piques the king's interest. You can see how these steps are all linked together.
And here it is. This is the turning point. A simple, straightforward request from the king. I would like to hear this man myself. With just those few words, the whole dynamic shifts. This isn't just a whim. It's the key that unlocks a divinely appointed opportunity.
Right. So this is anything but a coincidence. Agrippa's curiosity is framed as the perfectly orchestrated answer, not just to the governor's problem, but to moving Paul's mission forward.
And this all leads to the incredible payoff, a really dramatic and powerful transformation in Paul's circumstances.
So let's just take a quick snapshot of Paul's situation before this moment. Who's his audience? Angry mobs and corrupt governors. What's his platform? A hostile courtroom. And what's his status? He's just a legal problem that needs to be dealt with.
But then, just like that, because of a king's curiosity, the whole picture flips. His audience is now king and a queen. His platform becomes a royal hearing, and his status is elevated from a mere legal problem to a royal witness. That is a complete 180.
And this reveals the really big picture here. All these human events, the political visits, the legal confusion, the personal curiosity, they're all being woven together for a divine purpose. Paul's mission to testify before kings, it's happening. A messy, complicated political situation is transformed into this grand stage for his message.
I mean, how powerful is that? The very chains that were meant to restrain Paul actually became the key that unlocked a door to the highest levels of power. It just goes to show how our biggest obstacles can sometimes become our most unexpected opportunities.
And that leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? I guarantee you Paul couldn't have predicted that a governor's confusion and a king's random curiosity would create his greatest platform yet. It really makes you wonder, what confusing circumstances in our own lives might just be the key unlocking a door we never even knew was there?